Welcome to another episode of the Info Hazard Podcast Show. I'm Dave, that's Phil, and that's Dan. On this show, we do a lot of prognosticating, hypothesizing, extrapolating, hyperinflating. I read this quote.
Three more.
Did I say pontificating?
Good one. Keep going.
Indigesting. We definitely indigest current events. I've been reading about railroads and like this really good book that called Nature's Metropolis. It's an economic history of Chicago. It just had me thinking a lot about these monumental changes that have taken place over the centuries, brought on by technology. The internet has radically changed our economy and our society, our way of life, and AI
And our
is
trains.
and our
Much less boring to ride on them now.
Yes, and our trains. And I think, AI is possibly poised to do the same. Yeah, yikes.
AI is going to make train journeys more exciting.
Yep, that's right. And so anyway, I've just been kind of ruminating on all of this. So there was a quote I found kind of interesting. You guys have maybe heard it. We tend to overestimate the effect of a technology in the short run and overestimate the effect in the long run. You guys heard that one?
Sure.
Sounds
Are you
vaguely
envisioning
familiar,
a
I think.
future where autopilot systems for railroads are vibe coded?
I feel like self-driving trains is probably already solved. I don't know.
Gotta be easier than cars.
I mean, they're
It's
on
gotta
tracks.
be. Yeah.
You would think, and nothing else is even allowed on the tracks. That's called, apparently, Amara's Law, named after Roy Amara, who I've never heard of. Here's a chart. There it is.
Measuring
That's
AI
a chart.
ability to complete long tasks. Got a graph here. And looks like we've got a
Definitely going up and
Pretty-
to the right, dude.
up
Yeah.
and to the right. That's
And-
what you want your graphs to be doing.
And it's on a log
Assuming
scale.
that this is something we want.
Right. So this is on a log scale. Linear on a log scale means exponential. Well, this is a little weird. There's lots of methodological problems here, but this is something I've been experiencing as a software engineer, which was basically 2 years ago, LLMs were quite helpful. They were sort of replacing Stack Overflow, which came before it, where you could ask it questions about your code and it had a decent chance of giving you a good answer. But you'd kind of be crazy to actually have it write your code for you. But as of the last year, it actually very much makes sense to have AI agents writing your code. If you measure that complexity and how long it would take a human to do it in the hours it would take them, then it's basically doubling the complexity of tasks that it can do every 7 months, or it's been doing that since 2020. Which brings us to today's quiz. We're going to embrace exponentials of the past, and I thought I would quiz you guys on the pace of progress for past technologies.
Okay. All right. So we'll just have kind of a curvy loop up and just kind of imagine that. And then that's going to be the general format of the thing you want to talk about. Things that kind of go loop.
Yeah, exponential curves. That's right. But nothing so quantitative. I'll just dig into the examples rather than explain what the examples are going to be like.
Maybe just give a first question. Throw us in the deep end here.
Yeah, it's more fun when the quizzes are like Calvin Ball anyway.
All right, let's talk about the human population of the Earth. So it's a pair of questions, because I thought our one single question at a time quizzes were too simple. So how long did it take for the population to go from 1 to 2 billion? And then how long did it take for the population to go from 2 billion to 4 billion?
I'm going to guess 100 years and 15 years, respectively.
I'm going to guess 50 years and then 10 years.
Okay, interesting. So Danny was way closer. So here's one data point for that. So 1 billion happened around 1804. We got to 2 billion in 1927.
Yeah, it's way closer.
So 123 years to go from 1 to 2 billion. Of course, the whole history of humanity to go from 0 to 1 billion.
Right.
And then it was at 4 billion in 1975. So that's
So
50
6,000 years, right? The whole history of
right.
humanity.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so that's a nice warm up. I think it is also interesting that, if you look at all the population projections, it's like the car is coming to a screeching halt and heading back down. So that is one thing about exponentials, is that they don't last forever, because then they would go to infinity.
It's because the birth rate is declining, right? That's why we're leveling off.
Right, that's
Birth
right.
rate all over the world is declining.
But I mean, and I think that the birth rate is declining, and and why? It's because the resources are becoming a little more scarce, maybe relative to expectation, or maybe it's because of woke. I don't know why the birth rate is going down. Other populations, if you look at predator prey populations, they look exponential in one part, but then they're actually sinusoidal. And let's talk about the first industrial revolution and steam engines. So here are 3 events that I'd like you to place. Give me your time estimates or guess when they happened. Okay.
All right.
Number 1, the first commercially successful steam-powered machine that used steam to give continuous movement to a machine. Maybe you would call that the first steam engine. The second,
commercially successful, like to eliminate the Greek and Roman sort of examples of these things.
All right, so the second one, practical steam-powered road vehicles.
Okay.
And then the next one would be the first intercity railway. And then the last one would be the U.S. Transcontinental Railroad, the first U.S. Transcontinental Railroad.
Road vehicles, like a car, or
like a railroad, or
closer.
Does rail count here?
Yeah, rail counts.
Land vehicle.
Yeah,
okay.
Movie wheel thing. You see,
movie wheel thing.
So there's
before there were
things or 4
trains.
things?
Before there were trains, they didn't really call them trains. So commercially successful steam machine that gives continuous movement.
1804.
Okay, all right.
1770.
1770. Okay, practical steam-powered road vehicle.
1822. It's probably a little late, but
1820.
All right. First intercity railway.
Are you keeping track of this?
Definitely. I got all. It's all right here.
Okay.
I just am keeping track. Wrong. There's not first intercity railway.
Phil, you get to guess first this time, since you're just undercutting me a little bit every time.
What did I say? Like 1820? First intercity railway?
Probably some
there are like
Manchester
tons of
to
trains.
Birmingham type thing.
Yeah,
it was
trains predate.
It was from
what am I saying? I'm gonna go back 1800. I'm gonna
Okay,
I think we've been too late.
And 1830.
All right, and the U.S. Transcontinental Railroad, the first Transcontinental Railroad,
right?
18.
Like when did it finish?
54, maybe. I feel like it was after the gold rush, but not by a lot.
Yeah, 1850.
Okay, so the first commercially successful. So Danny got one of them right along the way, which was the first intercity railway for passengers and freight opened in 1830 between Liverpool and Manchester. But so in 1712, the first commercially successful steam-powered machine was invented by Thomas Newcomen. In 1800, the first demonstrations of practical steam-powered road vehicles were. Yeah, these were demonstrated in 1800 to 1805. The U.S. Transcontinental Railroad opened in 1869. So just to spread that out for you, it's basically 85 years from the steam engine's invention to the first intercity railway, and then another 39 years till the U.S. Transcontinental Railroad.
Unless I'm drawing this wrong, this doesn't neatly go exponential.
Well, because we're not measuring numbers, we're just
progress of achievements. Yeah.
If he had done the wattage, the horsepower of the steam engines or something, it would probably be a nice exponential.
Exactly. I mean, I think that it's interesting to think okay, it took 118 years to go from a steam engine to an intercity railroad, and then another 40 years to go across North America. Let's talk about climate change. We can start off with the 1712 Newcomen steam engine again, using fossil fuels to generate power for industrial machines. How long till 1 degree Fahrenheit average temperature change, 2 degrees Fahrenheit, and 3 degrees Fahrenheit?
So I'm going to guess 1 degree is 1880, 2 degrees is 1960 maybe, and then 3 degrees is 2020.
I'm going to guess 1 degree is 1920. 2 degrees is 1950, and 3 degrees is 1960.
1 degree is 1980, 2 degrees is 2015, 3 degrees is 2023. Here's hoping that's not an exponential. All right, last one.
Yikes.
Yeah. Anyway, no, that one wasn't really the pick-me-up I thought it was going to be.
Do you find that to be the case a lot of the time when you're talking about climate change?
Right, it's like the three horsemen of fantastic entertainment, like math, estimation, history, and like depressing stuff. Okay, all right, last
Come for the
one.
nihilism, stay for the despair.
This is like an endurance test of a quiz. It's only the true hardcore listeners can make it through our triple threat of unlistenable.
The next one is more positive. Okay, so Johannes Gutenberg invented his printing press around 1440. So the first country whose literacy rate cracked 95% was the Netherlands. Their literacy, they were at about 20% in 1550, 100 years after the printing press was invented, and they hit 95% in 1950, 400 years later. How long did it take for literacy in Mexico to go from 20 to 95%?
62 years.
5 years.
5 years. Dude, that would be insane, actually. Can you imagine?
5 years?
They were doing mucho leer.
Dude, no, that would be a 5-year plan to remember.
Yeah, seriously. No, dudes. I mean, it was 113 years. I guess from 1900, they had a literacy rate of at 20%, and in 2013,
Well, don't
they
give
cracked-
us
they
that.
cracked
Like all
95.
of your questions are formatted to make it like sound surprising.
Was it? Yeah. Anyway, right, and they're like exponentials, right? So
Idiot.
like, if you're
I mean,
off
this is
by a little,
obviously a widely known fact, is how long did it take from Mexico's literacy rate to go from 20% to 95%, dude? If you do man on the street interviews, like, it would be a rare person who didn't know this.
Yeah, it's true.
that's right.
Who won, David?
It's
Who
me,
won
because
the
I got a
quiz?
single question correct and you got 0.
I didn't realize we had to get it exactly right. I thought we were doing like a closer thing.
Yeah, closer, but like on a log scale.
Also, nobody kept track, so.
I thought that was fun.
High octane competition.
So, what exponentials are bearing down on you and your lifestyle? Let us know in the comments.
Also, what a framing device. What exponentials. The
By the way-
most abstract possible way of thinking about something.
Right, what exponential physical processes
of
are
change.
threatening imminent doom?
We're talking about AI and the exponential or geometric growth of the capabilities of AI, and that it can be scary, I think, for people who are worried about losing their jobs to AI. It benefits the people who make the AI to make people scared because it hypes up their product. But there might be a downside to that particular strategy. There is a recent poll of 1,690 US adults that asking about like AI and stuff like that, and 69% of respondents favored seizing half of all major AI companies and putting that stock into a sovereign wealth fund.
Holy crap, dude. Look at that. Mark's
How-
just overnight, dude.
I know, right? Yeah, this is relevant because this is the core of the American AI Sovereign Wealth Fund Act, a bill that was introduced to the Senate by Senator Bernie Sanders. It's a real rarity in Congress. It is a bill that does what it says on the title. It is a bill that sets out an American sovereign wealth fund using AI stock to make that fund. Yeah.
Are they gonna buy the stock or just seize it?
That is in the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Yeah. I am not some lib soy cuck that cares that much about the Constitution. I say if we need it, we take it. And most Americans seem to agree with me.
Is that what a lib soy cuck is? Someone who cares
Yes.
about the Constitution?
Yeah.
Okay.
days.
Yeah, well, who cares?
Who cares what it even means? That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, one could make the argument that not having your head chopped off by angry mobs is something of a fair compensation.
But yeah. Mhm.
But let's talk about let's talk about this bill, because this is apparently quite popular as an idea. There are many challenges, which we'll talk about a little later, but I wanted to get into the text of what we're talking about here. So this is a quote from Bernie Sanders. Left unchecked, artificial intelligence and robotics threatens the jobs, privacy rights, and mental health of every man, woman, child in America. As a society, we can no longer sit back and allow a handful of big tech oligarchs to determine the future of this revolutionary technology with no democratic input. And it goes on to say, the American people have the ability to slow it down and make sure that AI benefits humanity, not just the richest people on the planet. And that's precisely what this legislation does. So details-wise, it would make an independent commission, which
doesn't exist anymore. All right, good start.
Yeah, independent commission. You're not gonna love the details of this independent commission to manage the sovereign wealth fund.
A commission for
would
the
use voting
padding.
shares.
A commission for the padding of pockets of Trump's family.
Right.
All right, good.
It would use voting shares in these companies to block decisions that hurt the American people and push policies that help them. The independent commission would consist of 7 members nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate. So immediately dead in the water, as far as I'm concerned. Like, this is just a graft machine. So, yeah. So which is okay, because this thing isn't going to pass.
Like that, dude? Why would the president be in charge of this?
It's kind of like on the assumption that this system can and will work again.
Congress people just making laws for an America that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, it would require large companies that operate AI and non-AI businesses to break up those businesses. So, right, like Google has Gemini. They'd have to like separate out Gemini somehow, and that would be its own business, and then that would get chopped up. And
I'm a little confused. What did you say about breaking up businesses? Or
they have to spin off the AI units if it's part of a bigger company. So like Google has to spin off Gemini into its own little company.
Why?
Because otherwise it's confusing to keep track of the paperwork, basically.
What?
Right. Like, not all of Google's value is produced by the AI.
In fact, almost none of their
business. The details of this are not important. What I think is important is that, like, a supermajority of Americans, when asked about the future of AI, dislike it enough to go against the American tendency to uphold the rights of property above all other human rights. Right. They're willing to go full on Marxist revolutionary to inflict pain on the richest Americans, which I think is great. I love that. I want to strip wealth away from the worst people in the world. And like a messy solution that doesn't get all the little stupid details of this right, also great. I hope it destroys these companies. You know, they're talking about like the details, like, oh, it could stop investment in fucking Grok. Good. I want it to fucking die. I want these companies to die. I want them to go down in a fiery like pit and burn forever.
Well, that's a catchy concept. Maybe there should be a name for that.
What's that?
I said that's a catchy concept. Maybe there should be a name for that.
Hell?
Pit of fire where you burn forever. Yeah, that's a nice catchy name.
Yeah, I want them to go to hell. They generate negative value for society, so that value should be reflected in their stock prices.
Okay. I guess I'll argue against you there, Phil.
Make a case for the oligarchy, David.
I'm not going to make a case. I would call that a false choice, Phil. Let's start with the anger and the emphasis on punishing and taking. I don't think it's particularly constructive. It's true that that's motivating a lot of people, but it's equally true. It's like I might be motivated to do the same thing, but like not because I want to hurt these bad people. By the way, I don't think these are the worst people in the world, not by a long way. There's way worse people. Like there are mass murderers all over the place. I don't think that the point is to punish them. The point is to secure our collective future. To me, a pretty important distinction. I get that their actions the oligarchs' actions have been so aggressive and whatever, unethical, et cetera, that I understand the anger. And I'm angry too, but that's not the reason to do this is not to punish anybody. It's to secure our future. Anyway, that's the first thing.
Right. Well, this is a way to secure the future, is by punishing them.
But I mean, the point...
But he's saying, like, you shouldn't be doing it because it's punishing. You should be doing it because it's the right thing to do. And the fact that it's punishing is like should be like not a consideration.
Right, like
Right, no,
I don't
but
think
like
of it as punishing.
they're the enemy is the thing. If the class war is happening, they're winning.
I would hear use the phrase "don't get mad, get even."
Right. So, like, a couple things,
Right.
like taxation, it doesn't have to be punishment. Like, I don't see taxation as punishment. Like, a wealth tax, taxing 99% of Bill Gates's stuff would not be a punishment. It could be a punishment, but it's not. It's like it's tax. Like, I don't think I'm being punished for having a job. Like, it's just like this is part of how like me having a job and like whatever the economic impacts of what I do go to benefit the whole country and society. So it's not punishment. I mean, and also like I'd say, if you're just focused on punishment, it's like, okay, so you could just literally bomb every data center in America, right? Like just blow them
I'm
all up. There
listening.
you go. Yes, of course. So that would be punishment. That would be destroying any economic value that these companies have created. Like, whereas if you were to say instead, like maybe let's try to bend these economic trends towards our collective well-being, you would do things like tax those data centers and tax the money spent on those data centers, et cetera, and then spend that on benefits for people. And so very different things. One sort of blasts the country backwards. And I'm not saying that it's always wrong. Some technology, maybe Grok should just be deleted. But like, yeah, large language models for at large have tremendous promise to do very useful things. And they're already doing very useful things. And so that's good, and we shouldn't be destroying that.
Here's an example, Phil. I feel like you're a little skeptical. So here's an example of the value the AI can produce. So whenever Elon says some dumb shit on Twitter,
Sarcasm
like
coming.
Nazis were socialists, people can be like, "Excuse me, Grok, is that true?" And Grok will be like, "No, that's not true. Nazis were not socialists." And it will list a bunch of sources, and it's pretty funny.
Mm.
Yeah,
Grok
that's
is
true.
not fundamentally that different from the other language models. And the
Right.
fact that you're joking about, I'm sure, about, maybe we should just delete Grok.
The Mecha
But like
Hitler
maybe
one,
we should delete Grok and ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini. Like truly nothing that is done with them couldn't be done just by people. It's making us worse. It's making people less good at thinking and
It's not true.
interpreting the world around them.
All right, so then fundamentally, what makes your argument different from like an argument like we should get rid of combine harvesters because it makes people soft? They don't have to do their own farming anymore.
Right, and maps. Let's get rid of maps and books. I mean, why would we
If you
want
have to write
things
it down, dude, then you're lazy. Your memory is going to get lazy and bad, right?
Well, people got to make the maps. People got to make the books.
People
Once
got to
you make the thinking machine, there's no one left to replace. Like that.
So then people could do whatever they want, right?
Well, right, but like that value will all go into the hands of the oligarchs in the current system.
Well, so that's the problem is the system, not the technology then, right?
This is taking the value of that system. That is what they're suggesting, right?
Right,
And
so Bernie Sanders
right.
isn't suggesting the things that you are suggesting, right? You're suggesting like let's destroy it. He's not suggesting let's destroy it. He's saying,
but it will have the knock-on effect of destroying it, I think.
What? Why? What?
Because if you seize 50% of the stock of all these companies, it's not exactly going to spur investment.
Well, but I mean, so maybe that will disincentivize development of the next iteration, or it'll substantially slow down or alter the trajectory of that, but it wouldn't destroy what already exists. That's like a little bit concerning, right? With this whole thing where moving concentrated power from oligarchs to the federal government.
Yeah, but the federal government is supposed to just be the people, right? It's just supposed to be how we, the people, administrate the things we're in control of.
Yeah, ultimately, I think there are a lot of problems with that, which is why I like the idea that it will damage these companies. That's mostly what I like about this. I like that it will reduce the value and investment in these projects because I think these projects are bad for the country and for the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting and sort of disturbing fact that that's where we're at. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a very weird sentiment, but or whatever, it's a poll of people, and whether they support this or that, it should be taken with that grain of salt. It's not a very sensible policy.
Look at this democracy hater over here.
Well, no, I mean, representative democracy is good because you can actually have people who like spend their time thinking about policy. They can be the ones who actually write and vote on it.
Oh, wait, you're serious. Let me laugh even harder.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know what's. I feel a little bit mocked there, Danny.
That was intentional because of who our president is.
Oh yeah, but well, I mean, I was talking about Congress.
Way better.
Yeah.
How's Mitch McConnell doing?
My point is, it's not surprising that people are outright hostile to this technology, and the way that it's been developed is just is shocking.
Me,
Way.
I'm people.
Yeah.
And if you're
me too.
people, let us know in the comments what industries you'd like to seize the means of. Hey, speaking of Congress, Danny, you had a segment, right?
I did. Yeah, I wanted to. We're talking about destroying the oligarchy. Let me read you a mission statement from a Senate candidate, shall we say.
Boy.
I did 4 infantry tours in the Marine Corps and the Army. I'm not afraid to name an enemy, and the enemy is the oligarchy. It's the billionaires who pay for it, and the politicians who sell us out. And yeah, that means politicians like Susan Collins. See?
All
That
right.
sounds pretty badass, right? Sound like somebody we would support on this show, maybe.
Yep. Survey respondent Graham Plattner. Oh, wait. Or was I not supposed to know his name?
So for those who are living under a rock, that was a quote from a campaign launch video by Graham Plattner, who was pitched as the progressive Democratic candidate, and he had secured the nomination, but he ended up dropping out after an ex-girlfriend made rape allegations against him, and he lost all of his endorsements. But so I just wanted to take a minute and look at how we got there, and maybe praise the Democratic Party for at least making some exciting new mistakes instead of the same old mistakes. So he was forced to drop
Pioneers.
out, which is not great. And it turns out there were a few red flags along the way. So I wanted to mention a few. So red flag number 1. He has a Nazi tattoo of the Totenkopf, as it's called, which is like the Nazi
death's
skull
head.
and crossbones.
Which, you know, in his defense, is not a swastika.
Right.
That's true.
Wait,
And-
in his defense, is a commonly used phrase throughout his campaign.
Maybe he didn't know about it. There are some people in his past who are like, he definitely knew, and he called it my Totenkopf. And there are some
Okay.
people who are like,
Definitely do.
we just got drunk together in Croatia, and we were like, that's a cool looking skull and crossbones, tattoo that shit on us, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, maybe. Anyways, so that was actually not the only red flag. Another red flag. So he was in the military. After the military, he joined a small outfit you may have heard of called Blackwater.
War crimes enjoyers.
Yeah. So he joined them in like long after they had done several notorious massacres, which indicates dubious decision making, at least to me. Not exactly the kind of background I really want in a candidate. Like military service, okay, I can see it being admirable. Blackwater, not so great. And okay, so those are some background things that should be pretty obvious. And then there's some things that should have come up in even a cursory background check. Like maybe they should have looked at his public Reddit account. So in a 2013 Reddit discussion about anti-rape underwear, he wrote that people worried about assault should, quote, take some responsibility for themselves and not get so fucked up they wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to, which obviously describes 100% of rapes.
That's an awkward thing for someone who did rapes.
Well, the fact that he did rapes had not come out at that point.
But
they
that
were
does-
still secret rapes.
That seems like a similar time frame, though, right? Or sorry, was that like he got home from raping and then got on Reddit?
So that's not his only controversial Reddit post. In another one, he responded to a question asking why he joined the Marines by writing, quote, I wanted to have an adventure and kill some people.
Jesus.
And that was in 2020.
I think that
No.
might just be asshole. I think that might just be asshole.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that a Blackwater person would say something like that. Anyway, so this one is my favorite, actually, because the defense is hilarious to me. So the Plattner campaign's political director, Genevieve McDonald, alleged that his ex-wife had said that Plattner sexted as many as a dozen women. A Plattner campaign official said he had been communicating with no more than 6. Like, that is an amazing defense, dude. He's cheating on his wife with a dozen or more women. Actually, it's only 6. Boom. Solid defense right there, right? It was like, single digits, that's okay. It's when it gets into double digits that voters really start to object to that sort of behavior.
Yeah.
So,
It's pretty great that he's dropped out. I
I did want to give him props for that. So the law says that they have a week or two to have an emergency convention and choose a replacement. And so they basically were, yeah, we're probably going to do that. And then he saw the writing on the wall and he dropped out. Which, kudos to him. Even if he didn't do it, at least he saw that he wasn't going to beat the allegations. He dropped out. It's not Dianne Feinstein or Ruth Bader Ginsburg situation where he takes the whole ship down with him.
Yep. And like this is a good thing. Left-leaning politicians or lefties get a lot of shit for infighting and purity testing. Hey, when you don't do that, this is what you get. You get like some real pieces of shit saying the right things. This is why caring about someone's character matters. Like if you just say all the right things, but in your personal life you are like raping and murdering, that is actually a huge liability for you.
But so then also a thought that I had is, so I was thinking about like what would happen for Trump if these scandals came out about him.
I mean,
They
these
did.
scandals have
He's
come
a
out.
convicted
Yeah, no,
rapist.
totally, right? But so like, that is a funny
He's an
kind of comparison.
adjudicated rapist. An adjudicated rapist, Phil. Not criminal. He's not found liable for criminal rape, for civilly liable for rape. And
Don't worry,
fine.
that's not related to the fact that his supporters harassed the witnesses so much that they had to withdraw their criminal case.
the point is that, yeah, Donald Trump has a worse criminal record than Graham Plattner, and just as long and sick of a record of being a sick pervert and an asshole.
Yeah, he would have joined Blackwater, but alas, bone spurs.
So, yeah, I guess the Democrats get a congratulations. It should be interesting to see what comes out of this nomination. Phil, you ready to go all in supporting the most milquetoast, middle of the road Democrat who comes out of this process?
I don't really have to care. I'm not in Maine.
But you do have to care because they have to be able to beat Susan Collins to help turn the Senate.
Yeah, sure.
So
Go milk toast.
So hold on. Did Susan Collins vote for impeachment after Jan 6th? She voted to convict him in his second impeachment trial. Susan Collins, not my favorite person, but before the rape allegation, I think there was enough on Plattner to say that the guy is extremely short on character. It wasn't all his distant past, right? Like, I mean, he got married just a couple of years ago. Like this whole how many concurrent sexting affairs do you need to have in the last 5 years for people to realize you're a scumbag?
Yeah.
Susan Collins voted to convict on the Jan 6th impeachment. Seems like a person who maybe when it's important will vote the right way on things. I don't know.
I feel like she does have a better record than some Senate Democrats. I feel like it wouldn't take that much digging if I just take a second. Well, Grok, why Susan Collins bad? Well, sure. I mean, she was a Senate Republican who voted to approve the Big Beautiful Bill. Like that's like the worst thing that's happened to America in like the last 2 years. So yeah. So anyone who wouldn't have done that.
She votes with Donald Trump 95% of the time.
Do you think Donald Trump would have voted to impeach? He's no good.
Only Rand Paul and Lisa Murkowski supported Trump less frequently than Collins. Most Republicans voted 100% with Trump.
Jesus Christ. Well, I guess that's not surprising.
Yeah, they don't even have an official party platform anymore, dude.
Is that true?
Yeah, they did. It's just whatever Trump wants. That's what they said for the last presidential election. They didn't release an official platform.
I mean, truth in advertising, at the very least. We gotta handle that. No one's willing to stick their neck out to say what the party believes in because they know that just like Trump will disagree with something and get mad at it.
Pathetic. Honestly, an extremely pathetic party. And so by the standard of that party, we're talking about a bright, shining beacon here. So anyways, well, I'm glad that the people of what state are we talking about are getting somebody better. I'm sorry.
Sorry, we ruined your joke.
Anyway, I'm glad that the people of Maine will get somebody better than Graham Plattner. And if you're better than Graham Plattner, leave a sextual comment in the message in the comments. Don't leave a sextual.
Tell us what your favorite drink is. Let's keep it fun.
Yeah. And Barbara Dufresne, don't move to Maine. I'm watching you. I'm still mad at you, Barbara Dufresne. You know what you did.